I used to think trust was the strongest part of a marriage. Turns out, trust is also the easiest thing to destroy. The worst part? My wife didn't even look guilty while she was lying to my face. Not when she kissed me goodbye every morning. Not when she looked me in the eyes and told me she loved me. And definitely not when she was texting another man while sitting right beside me on our couch. I didn't discover the truth because I was suspicious. I discovered it because of one message. One tiny mistake she never thought I'd notice. And that mistake destroyed everything. But in the end, she learned something the hard way. You can lie to a husband, you can cheat on him, you can manipulate him, but you should never underestimate a quiet man who finally stops caring. My name's Ethan. I'm 36, and until last year, I genuinely believed I had a perfect marriage. My wife, Claire, and I had been together for 8 years. No kids yet, nice house in Chicago, good careers, weekend trips, date nights. From the outside, we looked like one of those couples people secretly envied. And honestly, I envied us too. Claire was beautiful in that effortless kind of way. She didn't try hard, but people noticed her anyway. Men especially. I saw it all the time. At restaurants, at parties, at the grocery store. But I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. The second mistake? Ignoring the little changes. Because they always start small. She became more protective of her phone. Started taking it into the bathroom. Screen away from me. Smiling at texts she wouldn't explain. At first, I told myself I was overthinking. Marriage needs trust, right? That's what everyone says. So I trusted her. Even when she suddenly started working late, twice a week. Even when she stopped wanting intimacy. Even when conversations between us started feeling forced. She blamed stress, work pressure, exhaustion. And like an idiot, I believed every word. The truth revealed itself on a random Tuesday night. Not during an argument. Not during some dramatic confrontation. Just a normal night. Claire was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while I was making coffee. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear I wasn't. But the message lit up the screen before it locked. And I saw enough. Last night was worth every risk. That was it. One sentence. One sentence that made my stomach drop like an elevator cable snapping. My hands literally froze. I remember staring at the phone while my brain tried to invent innocent explanations. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe, then another message came in. I can still smell your perfume on my sheets. That's when the world changed. It's strange how betrayal feels physically painful. People talk about heartbreak emotionally. Nobody tells you your chest actually tightens. Nobody tells you your ears start ringing. Nobody tells you your own house suddenly feels unfamiliar. I stood there staring at that screen while the shower water ran upstairs, and in that exact moment, already over. Claire just didn't know I knew yet. Most people think betrayal leads to screaming, crying, throwing things. Not me. I became terrifyingly calm. Because once the shock faded, something colder replaced it. Awareness. I put the phone back exactly where it was, finished making coffee. And when Claire came downstairs, wrapped in a towel, smiling at me, I smiled back. That part scared me later. How easily I pretended. How was your night? I asked casually. Long. She sighed dramatically. Work's been exhausting lately. Lie. Straight to my face, and she said it effortlessly. That's what hurt most. Not the cheating. The ease of the lying. The comfort. Like betraying me had become routine. That night, while she slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling for hours. Then I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her emotionally. I wasn't going to beg. And I definitely wasn't going to let her control the narrative. If my marriage was ending, I was ending it on my terms. The next few weeks changed me. I started noticing everything. Patterns, timelines, Excuses. Claire suddenly had business dinners every Thursday. She started dressing differently, wearing perfume to work when she never used to, protecting her phone like it contained nuclear codes. And the craziest part, once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. I hired a private investigator 3 days later. Not because I needed proof emotionally. I already knew. I needed proof legally. That investigator uncovered everything within a week. The other man was named Daniel, 42, divorced, real estate developer. Apparently he'd been seeing Claire for almost 7 months. 7 months. Do you know how insane that feels? Sharing a bed with someone for 7 months while they secretly belong to someone else? The investigator handed me photos. Restaurant dates, hotel entrances, her kissing him outside his condo. I looked through every picture without reacting. Then I thanked the investigator, paid him, and drove home in silence. Claire greeted me at the door, smiling. And for the first time in my life, I looked at her and felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no love, nothing. That's when I knew she'd truly lost me. Here's the thing about betrayal. Cheaters usually assume they're smarter than you. Claire definitely did. She thought I was clueless, predictable, safe. Meanwhile, I was quietly preparing to erase her from my life completely. I contacted a lawyer, a very good one, and because Claire had used joint funds during the affair, luxury hotels, trips, gifts, my lawyer told me something interesting. In court, he said, this won't look good for her. Good. I didn't want good for her anymore. Over the next month, I separated finances carefully, documented everything, copied messages, saved receipts, built timelines, and the entire time, Claire kept lying to my face every single day. Sometimes she'd kiss me before leaving to meet him. That messed with me mentally more than anything else. How do you fake love that convincingly? How broken does someone have to be? But I stayed patient, because revenge isn't emotional when done correctly. It's strategic. The ending began at our anniversary dinner. 8 years together. Claire actually booked the restaurant herself. Candles, wine, beautiful dress. She looked happier than she had in months. Probably because she thought she was getting away with everything. Halfway through dinner, she lifted her wine glass and smiled. To us, she said. I almost laughed. Instead, I smiled back. To honesty, I said. For a split second, her face changed. Tiny reaction, barely noticeable, but guilt always recognizes danger. Then I reached into my jacket and placed an envelope on the table. What's this? She asked nervously. Open it. Inside were copies of the photos, hotel pictures, kissing pictures, screenshots of messages, every lie printed in black and white. I watched the color drain from her face instantly. She stopped breathing normally. Her hands literally shook. Ethan, that's enough, I interrupted calmly. And suddenly, she started crying. Not because she felt guilty, because she got caught. There's a difference. It's not what you think. I laughed. Actually laughed. Because cheaters always say the dumbest things imaginable. You spent 7 months sleeping with another man, I said quietly. What exactly should I think? People around us started noticing. Claire looked terrified now. Good. For months, I'd suffered silently while she smiled in my face. Now it was her turn. I was going to tell you. No, I said. You were going to continue until I found out. Silence. Then came the line every cheater eventually uses. I made a mistake. A mistake? Forgetting milk is a mistake. Cheating for 7 months is a decision. Hundreds of decisions. And she made every single one willingly. Then I handed her the final envelope. Divorce papers. She looked stunned. You already filed? 3 weeks ago. That shattered her. Because in that moment, she realized something important. I wasn't reacting emotionally. I had already moved on mentally. And there's nothing more terrifying than losing control over someone you thought would never leave. The divorce became ugly fast. Claire suddenly transformed into someone I barely recognized, begging, crying, blaming stress, blaming loneliness, blaming me. Apparently her affair was partially my fault now. Funny how accountability disappears when consequences arrive. But none of it mattered anymore, because once respect dies, love follows quickly behind it. Daniel disappeared almost immediately once the divorce started. Of course he did. Affairs survive fantasy, not reality. Claire lost both relationships within weeks, and honestly, that still wasn't the real punishment. The real punishment was watching her realize too late that she destroyed a man who genuinely loved her. Do you know how rare loyal love actually is now? People throw it away chasing excitement, attention, validation, temporary feelings. Then one day they wake up alone wondering why peace disappeared from their lives. Claire texted me for months afterward. Emotional paragraphs. Apologies. Regret. I never meant to hurt you. That one almost made me laugh again. Because betrayal isn't accidental. It's intentional selfishness disguised as confusion. I never answered. Not once. It's been a year now, and strangely, losing my marriage saved me. I sleep peacefully now. No anxiety, no suspicion, no lies sitting beside me pretending to love me. I started traveling again, got healthier, focused on myself, and eventually, I learned something important. Closure doesn't come from revenge. It comes from indifference. The day your betrayal no longer controls your emotions, that's the day you truly win. Last month, I heard Claire moved out of state. Apparently things didn't go well after the divorce. I don't hate her anymore. I just don't care. And honestly, that's worse. Because the opposite of love isn't hate. It's nothing. And after everything she did, nothing is exactly what she earned. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more realistic betrayal and revenge stories every week. And remember this, the most dangerous person in a relationship isn't the loud angry one, it's the quiet one who finally sees the truth.